Welcome to my cozy little corner. And today I want to talk about all of my 5-star predictions for 2026. I have quite like a lengthy priority, like TBR, and like what the series I want to read this year, and just all the books that I really want to read. But I know my taste, and I'm typically correct. In all honesty, I can usually feel when when a book is gonna be 5 stars. So I thought it would be fun because I didn't want to do like a big long priority TBR video. So I thought it would just be fun to talk about all the books that I think are gonna be 5-star reads in 2026, and then also 3 series that are like my priority series for 2026, but also series that I think will possibly be up there with 5-star series. So, without further ado, let's get into this. First and foremost, I have an issue where I ignore when a book becomes extremely popular. I don't know. I have like hateritis. When a book gets really popular, I just feel like I know I'm gonna love it, but for some reason I don't read it. I have no idea. I'm trying to remedy that with a lot of books that I have planned in 2026, and the first one is Piranesi. And full disclosure, I got all of these summaries online because I wanted to be as vague as possible for me, because I don't like knowing too much going into the books. I just need to know like just enough. So for Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Piranesi is about a man who lives in a strange, vast place made of endless halls filled with statues. His job is to explore and record this world, which seems peaceful but also deeply mysterious. In the story, small, unsettling questions arise about what this place is and who he really is, and what it means to understand reality and truth. I don't know. Piranesi is one of those books where like everyone who reads it puts it on their top 10 of the year. I've seen it so many times. I really like vague, mysterious stories, and this 100% feels like it's that. It also feels or seems like it's very, very atmospheric, which is something else I tend to gravitate towards. And yeah, a lot of the fan art as well like immediately captured me as well. And I heard a while ago, I believe, that the same studio that's doing Coraline is supposed to be doing this movie as well, adapting it, which is a very interesting choice. So yeah, that is Piranesi. The next one is a classic, 100 Years of Solitude. This is a book that like, I don't know. I will literally be so freaking surprised if I read this book and I don't absolutely love it. I love magical realism. I love a multi-generational story. I love stories deep diving into multiple generations of a culture that I am not in. I don't know. I tend to absolutely love books like this. So this is 100 Years of Solitude. 100 Years of Solitude follows several generations of a single family living in a small, isolated town. The story blends everyday life with strange, magical events that are treated as normal. Over time, patterns repeat, relationships become tangled, and the past seems to echo into the present. The novel explores memory, time, loneliness, and how families and places are shaped by what came before. I don't know. It just sounds, I don't know. This one in particular, out of all of these, I feel like this and then one of the next books I'm going to talk about, those are definitely on the top of like, I'm almost 100% sure I'm going to love them. The next is Watership Down. I already have my hold for the library for this book. It is sitting there ready, and I think it's going to be my first spring read just because if you don't know anything about Watership Down, it is a classic. It is categorized as fantasy, and that is mostly just to do with the fact that the entire cast are rabbits. I love anthropomorphic stories, But this one, I heard like his use of rabbits to talk about the themes is just done so well and so uniquely. So, Watership Down is about a group of rabbits who leave their home to search for a safer place to live. Along the way, they face challenges, meet other communities, and rely on friendship, courage, and storytelling to survive. I don't know. The way that people talk about this work and the fact that it's a classic, like, leads me. I don't really feel like this many people are gonna lead me astray, and I've said this before and I will say it again. My kryptonite is anthropomorphic animal stories. Every time I see a new one, it's added to my TBR immediately. Okay, this next book is exactly the book I was talking about when I said, like, I'm pretty positive that, like, I'm most positive about this in 100 Years of Solitude, and that is East of Eden. I've said it before, I love a multi-generational story. And this is also like the great American novel as well. Everything about East of Eden just speaks to me so much. It is probably the one on this list I'm the most intimidated by, just because of like it being an older work. I tend to struggle with older works, and not because of the language, but more because of the fact that I don't think just to put it out there, I don't think my reading comprehension is the highest, but the only way to like help that grow is to read more challenging books. I am hopefully going to do an immersion read for this because I tend to, when books are too hard for me, quotations, I tend to go straight to audio, which honestly doesn't make sense. So I'm really planning on carving a timeout for this book to just completely put my undivided attention into this book. But East of Eden by John Steinbeck follows several interconnected families over many years in a farming region of California. The novel explores human nature through repeated struggles between love and resentment, choice and consequence. As generations pass, the story reflects on morality, free will, and whether people are shaped more by their past or their decisions. Next is another classic. I actually have this one. A lot of these books I don't have the physical copy of yet because I'm trying to buy them when I actually want to read them. But Anna Karenina. This is kind of cheating. I think that this being on this list is a little bit cheating, but don't tell anybody. And also, I don't know what it is about this cover. I just got this off of Thrift Books. I really love this cover. It's cheating because I did technically already start this book like last spring. I read up to like the first part, because it's split up into parts. And maybe less than 100 pages. It's a chunky boy, so it's, I barely scratched the surface. But I was doing audio, and with it being a classic, it is denser in language. So I think, again, I want to carve out time and dedicate it to immersion reading it so I can annotate it and truly like understand what I'm reading. I'm just trying to be better about that. But if you don't know what Anna Karenina is about, Anna Karenina follows several interconnected characters in 19th century Russia, focusing on marriage, romantic relationships, and family life. The novel contrasts passionate love with duty and social expectations, while also exploring questions about morality, happiness, and how people try to find meaning in their personal and public lives. So the next one is a memoir. I love a memoir, but this memoir is magical realism, and it is in the Dream House. I love magical realism. Some of my favorite books are magical realism, and the fact that this author mixed it in with her memoir, I don't know, like it genuinely, this is another one that like it has that aura that speaks to me. Like when I see it, I just feel like I'm gonna love it. But In the Dream House is a memoir that reflects on a past relationship and the experience of living in an unsettling, emotionally complex environment. The book uses experimental storytelling to examine memory, identity, and how people make sense of difficult experiences. I feel like also this book gets talked about being very poetic, and also a lot of the YouTubers that I watch that are book oriented, this is like their favorite books. So I feel like everyone who reads it ends up putting it really high on a pedestal. I don't know, it just speaks to me. The very last like book, this is another one. Okay, this one, I was gonna say Piranesi's, but I don't think it is. This is the one that I am so positive this is gonna be one of my favorite books of all time. My mom is positive. Hi, Mom. My mom is positive that this is going to be literally my personality, and I think she's right. I've known that this was probably going to be one of my favorite books the moment I read it, but the popularity of this book gave me like hipsteritis. I have no idea why I do that, but I actually think this is going to be my read next week. This is not a very long book, and if I immersion read it, like sit down and immersion read it, I could probably finish this in 2 days. So that's the plan. And I also am hoping that the next video will also be a vlog of me reading this book, because I have to document my mom being right, which I know you're gonna love. But yes, I am a huge Shakespeare lover. I love Shakespeare. I didn't say the name, but you can see that it's obviously Hamnet. I love Shakespeare. I was in Romeo and Juliet, and as cliche as it is, Romeo and Juliet is one of my all-time like favorite stories. I think it's a nostalgia, if I'm being honest. I was in a lot of like theater classes. I was in like in middle school, I did this like, it was called like Shakespeare and something, and you would have to like memorize scenes and memorize sonnets, and then you went to like this big competition where you would like perform them. I did that in middle school. It was so fun. I think high school I kind of left Shakespeare behind a little bit, but I'm starting to kind of like get back into it. With that being said, if you don't know anything about Hamnet, this is following Shakespeare's family without naming that it's Shakespeare. It is like mostly to do with the death of his son and his wife. Hamnet is a historical novel set in 16th century England that centers on a family connected to the theater world. It focuses on marriage, parenthood, and grief, paying close attention to domestic violence, domestic life, and emotional bonds. The story explores how loss, memory, and love influence creativity and the legacy people leave behind. I don't know. I'm fully expecting this book to be just like completely covered in tabs. I've heard about some of like the chapters and like the uniqueness of how she wrote some of the chapters as well. I don't know. I just definitely know that like I'm going to eat this book up. That is all of my like standalone predictions. I have to prioritize series, otherwise I will not finish them. So these are my like 3 big priority series for 2026 that I'm pretty sure will be favorites. The first one is the Inheritance Cycle. I am planning on doing a whole Inheritance Cycle, like Eragon, a vlog where I read the entire series and do little spoiler sections. I love Dragon Rider fantasy, and I feel like it's a crime with how much I love dragons and Dragon Rider fantasy that I have not read Eragon yet and the whole Inheritance Cycle. I have read the first book. I have read Eragon, and I really loved Eragon. I just put it to the side for some reason, and I think I'm gonna reread Eragon and just reread, like just read the entire series as a whole. Hopefully really close to each other. That way I actually finish it. The next fantasy series is another fantasy series that I have read the first book and I put it on the back burner. But this is one that I actually have the audiobooks for the entire series, so I feel like I have no excuse. And this is another series that I want to kind of read pretty close to each other. And honestly, reread the first book. The Whittling Flame trilogy is the first book. There is like so much that goes into this first book. The author of this book is very creative. And the story itself is very, very genre bending. You follow like three main POV characters that are all very vastly different. And they're like different species as well. This magical world that she created just has so much going on that I don't really think that one read was going to get me an understanding like all of the stuff that was going on. So I think I put it on the back burner mostly because there was so much in that first book that I knew I was probably gonna have to reread the first one to go straight into the rest of them. I think because of how vast and creative this series and world is, it's just gonna make sense to binge these really close to each other. We'll be doing that this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's another one where I genuinely did enjoy the first book. I really, really had so much fun with it. It was a lot and I read it fairly quickly, but I really did like it. And then the last one, priority read series for this year, is the Farseer trilogy. I have seen so much stuff about Robin Hobb recently. I don't know why. I think just people are picking it back up again. I know like all of the whole like Robin Hobb universe, people love it. A lot of people's favorite fantasy author is her. A lot of people's fantasy world and series is this. But for some reason this past year, I've just seen so many people jump into it. And it reminded me it existed. I really love stories that follow one character for a very long time. I love like following a family, but I love following one character. It's the same reason why I love memoirs and biographies, just the way that you follow a character and really learn the ins and outs of a person and watch different things affect them. And I definitely feel like this is going to be a series that I love. I heard her prose are phenomenal. I heard that it will make you super, super emotional, which that's another thing. I love an emotional book. So yes, that is my 5-star predictions, my 5-star predicted series, a lot of the priority TBR for this year. I have so many other like books. I have a whole list of 26 books that I'm going to be focusing on. I also have a whole list of 12 classic fantasies that I want to read this year. So I have a lot of books on my priority TBR for this year, but I have faith. I have faith. And January is my favorite year to read in the entire year because I'm just so excited about like the list I put together that I'm just like ready to go for it. I typically read a lot of books in January and February and then it falls off, but I'm so excited for my favorite reading month of the year. And yes, if you made it this far, please like, subscribe. Thank you so much. And yeah, bye.